Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is Active Directory migration from Windows Server 2012 R2 to Windows Server 2019 step by step. So in this video we are going to focus on Active Directory migration from Windows Server 2012 machine to 2019, and along with Active Directory we are also going to take care for the migration of DNS server, because DNS server role is a part of Active Directory server. So we are going to migrate Active Directory and DNS both in this video from Windows Server 2012 R2 to Windows Server 2019. So let's get in and see what we have in this demo environment. So in this demo environment I have basically 4 virtual machines. So our first virtual machine is Win2K 12 DC01, which is Active Directory and DNS server. So you can see this is running on Windows Server 2012 R2, and our IP address of domain control is 192.168.0.251. This is our existing domain server which is running on Windows Server 2012, and this is our domain name victimforsoul.local.lan. So let's verify this. So this is, you can see, Win2K 12 R2, and Active Directory and DNS role is running on this machine. And if I go to local server, you can see Win2K12 DC01, my domain name and IP address of this machine, and this is running on VMware infrastructure as a virtual machine. So this is good. So basically this is our you can say Active Directory and DNS server. So if we can, like, before migration, you have to make sure your Active Directory infrastructure is healthy and everything is looking good. So just to verify things, I'm going to click on tools and Active Directory users and computers to verify what we have in our existing infrastructure. So you can see this is my domain name victimforsoul.lan. So if I go to change domain, basically change domain controller, you can see we have only one domain controller, which is DC01. So if I go to domain controllers, you can see Win2K12 DC01, which is our global catalog server and single domain controller in this infrastructure. So currently we have one domain controller which is running on Windows Server 2012 standard, R2 standard. So, and if I go to here in my OU India, we have one OU called group servers users. So we have few demo users account here, like user 01 to user 05, and we have two workstation also. And if I go to my DNS, so we can see what we have in DNS. So you can see this is also acting as my DNS server. If I expand victimforsoul.lan, you can see all these information are there. And also we have one reverse lookup zone, which is here 192.168.0, and also you can verify the AD health from DC DAC command. So you have to make sure everything is good, and no, you are not going to find any error or any warning. If you have any alert, warning, error on this DC DAC command, you need to go and fix those errors before migrating the Active Directory from Windows Server 2012 to 2019. And I will also recommend to have a proper backup of your existing domain infrastructure. So if anything goes wrong during the migration, you have option to go back in the previous state where your Active Directory uh, uh, when you started the Active Directory migration from 2012 to 2019. So here you can see everything is passed. So my DC health is looking good, and also we can go to like netdom query FSMO to verify our FSMO roles, all 5 FSMO roles, is it healthy or not. So we have to wait for a few seconds. So you can see now all the 5 roles are currently holding by Win2K12 DC01. So this is good. And you can also go and verify like domain trust, site services. So these things you have to make sure your basically Active Directory infrastructure is healthy before migration, and you have no issue with anything like DNS, AD, or any other issue related to Active Directory infrastructure. So once you verify everything is good, then you can go ahead for the actual migration for the Active Directory. So our next machine which I have here is my uh, 2019 server which we are going to have. So this is a brand new machine which I have installed. I have not done any configuration anything on this machine. So this machine is going to be configured this way, like host name, IP address, and it's going to be our domain controller and DNS server, and it's going to join in victorinfosol.line. So here is my machine, you can see. So I have just installed, as I told, like no IP address, nothing is configured on this machine. So we are going to configure this machine together, so from start. So a part of this, I have two virtual machines which is Windows 10, basically Windows 10 client machines. So first machine is Win 10 CL01, and both machines join in my domain. So if I go here, Win 10 CL01, you can see this machine is joined in my domain victorinfosol.lan, and if I go on command prompt and I type who am I, so you can see I'm victorinfosol user 01. And same if I go and if I run set command here, you can see which login server I am currently using. So login server is Win2K 12DC01, which is my current active server, so this is good. And same if I verify from this machine, so who am I, user 02, and if I go to set command, you can see I have logged in with the login server is Win2K 12DC01. So if I go here in Active Directory infrastructure, you can see both machine and join in my domain. So this is good. So basically this is our infrastructure. Three machines are ready in production, working in production, and we are going to promote this server as a domain controller. Then we are going to decommission the old server, which is old Active Directory and DNS server, which is Win2K 12DC01. So in this video we are going to promote do the Active Directory migration from 2012 to 2019, and then we are going to decommission the old Windows Server 2012 machine also. So we are going to finally have only one domain controller which is going to run on Windows Server 2019. So let's get in. So I'm going to configure my 2019 server in this way. So let's go there, and first thing I'm going to rename this machine. Basically we can go ahead and configure IP address first. So I'm going to disable IPv6. So here I'm going to use 192.168.0.152, and my gateway is 192.1, and my subnet mask I'm going to set 251 as my primary domain controller, and this is going to be my secondary domain controller itself, because this is domain controller, so secondary DNS we can configure. And third, I'm going to give my gateway to get the internet for this machine. So this is good, and now we are good. And now I'm just going to make sure I'm able to reach to my current domain controller, so we can go ahead and join this machine domain. So to verify this, I'm going command prompt and 192.168.0.251, which is my current domain controller, so I'm able to ping it. So communication is good. Now we can go ahead and join this machine and domain. I'm going to rename this Win2K19 DC01. I'm going to put in domain, so victorinfosol.lan. So now let's put user ID credential to join this machine in domain. So welcome to victorinfosol.domain. So this is good. So now I'm going to reboot this machine. So since this machine is rebooting, I'm going to verify the DNS address on my current domain controller, and I'm going to change the DNS setting and IPv4. So I'm going to make it like 52, and the third DNS which I'm going to configure to get my internet to this machine. So this is good. So like both domain controller having both DNS server old and new IP address as a DNS, primary and secondary. So this is good. Now this machine is rebooted Win2K19 and joined in domain also. We can see it's joined. So now I'm going to log in as a victorinfosol administrator. So victorinfosol administrator, because we want to have administrative access to this machine to get started with domain promotion and else. So now you can see this machine is going to be joined in domain. So we have a computer account here in default OU, which is computer. So this is good. And now you can go here and verify this machine join in domain. And if I go on CMD and run set, you can see what is my logon server Win2K12 DC01. So this is good. And if I type who am I, you can see I am Victor InfoSol administrator. So this is good. So we got the administrative access on this machine. So now I'm going to like we have configured IP address, name and join in domain, and now we are going to promote this server as Active Directory and DNS server. So I'm going to do it. So click on manage and add role and features. So click next. And this is going to be a role based installation because we are going to install Active Directory. So click next. And this is our server name Win2K19 DC01. So click next. I'm going to select Active Directory, use domain services. Click next and leave the features as it is. So finally we are going to click on install. So it's going to install Active Directory domain services and few management tools also. So we are good with that. So now these roles and features are going to be installed on this machine. So once these roles are installed on this machine, we can go ahead and promote this server as a domain controller. So then we can go ahead and verify once the domain this machine is promoted as a domain controller, this computer object is going to be moved from here to domain controllers OU basically. So we'll see that. So it's going to take few seconds for the installation of these roles. So now this is done. We got the option to promote this server as a domain controller. So I'm going to click on this. So now we are going to add a domain controller existing domain. So this is good. The domain name is already taken and user account is already taken, Victor InfoSol administrator. So we are good. Just click on next. So now it's going to verify the things, and now we have a DSRM password. So I'm going to put my DSRM password, directory service restore mode password here, and click next and click next on DNS delegation, and you can see we have one domain controller. So we are going to find this domain controller. If you have like multiple domain controllers, you can select from where you want to replicate it. So I'm going to select this particular domain controller, click next, and now it's going to ask where you want to save the Active Directory database file, log file and sysvol. So I'm going with the default option, which is C Windows. So click next, and now it's going to prepare you for this schema and domain preparation. So going to click next, and this is the script what it's going to do. If you want to verify a script, you can see this is a PowerShell script which is going to import ADDS deployment module, and then it's going to run these commands like where it's going to save the database files, installation DNS is true, so it's going to install the DNS as well, and what is the sysvol path and all these information, and force hyphen true is going to be basically reboot this machine post the installation complete. So this is good. Now we can go ahead and click next, and now it's going to run some pre-checks. If everything goes well, then we are good to go ahead and run the installation. So you can say all the pre-request check passed successfully. Click install to begin installation. So I'm going to click on install button to run the installation. So now you can see upgrading Forest. So it's going to take some time to get the installation done for and promotion for this machine as a domain controller and DNS server. And once both Active Directory and DNS role is good to go, the machine is automatically going to restart, and then we are able to see this machine as a domain controller. So you can see now it's replicating some Active Directory schema options, and now if I refresh this, you can see this machine from here, from computers Win2k19 DC01 has been moved to domain controller. So we can verify this is now promoted as a domain controller and as a global catalog DC type. So this is good, and now you can see it's rebooting. So this is one good thing. So it's automatically going to reboot. So we have to make sure now all our domain, like these servers, which is client machine, basically having correct DNS to point to the our new server. So I'm going to change the DNS settings here to point to new DC domain controller. So I'm going to make it 2 because eventually we have to decommission our old server. So I have made changes, mark a DNS server as our new server. So this is good, and same I'm going to do for this machine as well. So I have changed the DNS setting on both my client machine to point to the new domain controller. So this is good, and now just wait to get this machine for ready for the login, and then we will log in and verify the roles. So now this is good. Hit Ctrl Del, and let's log in as administrator, Victim for Soul administrator. And now you can see this machine is also going domain controller, so we can basically start like decommissioning the old domain controller. So you have to make sure, like you have to run leave the old domain controller for with the new domain controller to run few days, and once you are good, like you can verify everything is good, no you having no issues with user or domain controller, anything like this, then you can go ahead and move for the decommission for the old domain controller. So we are good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer the FSMO role first, all the FSMO roles, and then we are good to go for the decommission of the domain controller server, old domain controller. So here I'm going to do netdom query FSMO. So I'm going to open a Active Directory users and computers and just verify we got all the objects here. So you can see here we have India, we got users, we got domain workstation, domain controller, everything is good. So now we can go ahead and move these roles to new domain controller. So I'm going to, in Active Directory users and computer, right click and operation masters, so we can migrate 3 roles from here to this machine called Win2k19 DC01 RAID PDC and infrastructure. So I'm going to change these roles. So operation master currently running on DC Win2k19 12 DC01. We are going to move on Win2k19 DC01. So change. And are you sure want to transfer operation master roles? Yes. So the operation master role successfully transferred. So same I'm going to do for PDC, successfully transferred, and infrastructure as well. So now we have successfully transferred 3 roles. So now if I go again and run this FSMO net query FSMO, you can see 3 roles PDC, RAID, and infrastructure has been moved to this Win2k19 DC01, and domain naming master and schema is still left here, so we need to move those roles also. So to move this, we need to go to domain and trust, and then here right click and operation master. So you can see this is going to be change. So I'm going to, yes, I want to transfer, successfully transfer. And now if I run this command again, so you will see domain naming master is also going to change. So let's wait for some time to get this reply. So you can see now 4 roles has been transferred. Schema master is only left. So to transfer schema role, we need to run some command to add snip in for the schema master. So the command to register this is going to be a reg server 32. So reg svr 32, and schema mgmt.dll. So you can see the DLL register server in this file is successfully. Then we can go ahead and launch the MMC. And from MMC we can go ahead and add snippet, and we got here Active Directory schema master, so I'm going to add this. Click OK. Now we need to change the domain controller first, so we need to connect to the 2012 server, so it's connected to 2012. And if I go now and operation master, you can see this is connected to 2012, and we are going to have 2012 here also. So basically we need to go here and change the domain controller. So this is showing like you will not be able to perform any changes for schema master hold, so this is good. And now go to operation masters, and you can see this is currently running on DC01, and you want to change it to DC0, Win2K 19 DC01. So good. Click yes. Are you sure want to transfer role? Yes. So operation master successfully transfer. So we can go ahead now and close this. And now if I go and run the netdom query FSM again, you can see all the roles has been transferred to DC0 Win2K 19 DC01. So this is good. And now we can go ahead and remove this server from a global catalog, so old server. So I'm going to remove it from global catalog server. So this has been removed now. So now if I refresh this, it's going to be a DC, not a global catalog server. So same, I'm going to verify from 2012 server also. So domain controllers and refresh this. So it's going to take some time to get the changes affected here. So I'm going to reboot this machine once, and then we can go ahead and demote this server from a domain controller, and finally we are good to go and verify the effect is like we got the new domain controller in a production from the client machine. So when you are planning to do this Active Directory migration and decommission the old server, you have to make sure you have a proper plan in place. Like you are going to wait for a few days after promoting new server in the infrastructure. You are going to wait for a few days for the decommissioning the old server, and in the meanwhile you have to perform all the tests at your client and on a server, and like no application is having issue, and your infrastructure is good to go with the new domain controller. So these things you have to make sure when you are doing such migration. And also you have to make sure you have a proper backup in place in case anything goes wrong. You can go ahead and revert that from backup. So now if I go to tools, Active Directory users computers, and domain controllers, we are good. So now we are good with this. So now we can basically go ahead and perform the decommission from this Active Directory and DNS role. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run dc promo.exe. so you can see the Active Directory domain services installation visas relocated in this. You can go and run from there. So I'm going to run remove roles and features. So click next, and what role you want to remove. So I'm going to want to remove Active Directory domain services. So remove features. So it's going to remove all the features also which was added for this Active Directory domain controller role. So now you can see this option, demote this domain controller. So we have to click here, and then it's going to give you the Active Directory domain services configuration wizard, and then you have option this supply the credential to perform. And if you are not the administrator, you can go ahead and do this. So This is the force the removal of the domain controller, so you can go ahead and click next, and then you can see this domain controller hosting DNS services as well. So proceed with removal. So this is also going to remove the this DNS services, DNS server role, and click next. And this is asking for the new password for local administrator account, because when this machine is demoted as a domain controller, it's going to have a local administrator account. So this is good. So click next, and what this is going to do, remove Active Directory domain services from this computer, and when process complete, this computer is going to be a member of the domain, so it's going to be a normal computer in this. So we are good with that. So click demote. So you can see it's starting the demotion of this domain controller role. So soon you are going to find this machine is going to be moved from domain control view to computers once the demotion is completed. So we have to wait for some time. Now you can see stopping services KDC and removing LDAP, everything. So successfully demoted Active Directory domain controller. So we are good with this, and it's automatically going to reboot. So we have to wait for some time here to get this machine rebooted. So now you can see it's getting reboot. If I go here, and you can see this machine Win2K12 DC01 has been removed from domain controllers and is going to be placed under computers. So you can see it's placed on now in computers as it look normal machines. So now we are good to log in this machine again. So I'm going to log in, and just make sure Active Directory and DNS is removed. If it's not removed, we have to manually uninstall the roles. So now if I go here, you will see the promote this server as a domain controller is going to show. So you can go here on remove roles and feature, click next, and now we can go ahead and remove Active Directory roles and features. And also we can select the Windows DNS server, click next, and leave everything default, and restart the destination code server automatically if required. So this is going to be require reboot. So Active Directory domain services and DNS is going to remove, and also these management tools are going to remove. So this is good. So now the server has been demoted from the domain controller, but the roles like Active Directory and DNS is uh, still installed. So we are cleaning up the machine and removing the Active Directory and DNS role from this machine. And now this machine is going to become without domain controller and without Active Directory and DNS roles. So now this is going to be a, you can say, a blank or normal machine without Active Directory and DNS installed. So now I'm going to hit Ctrl-Del and log into this machine again, and wait for the server manager to pop up. So removal succeeded, Active Directory and DNS, and now you can see we don't have Active Directory and DNS role anymore on this machine. So now we can go ahead and change the DNS settings for this machine as well. I'm going to make it to like remove this from here, and we are going to have our primary DC now, which is 152, and our alternative DNS is going to be our gateway server. So this is good. And same I'm going to do on my domain controller as well, which is new domain controller. So I'm going to change the IP address for DNS settings. So we don't have this machine anymore on network 51, so I'm going to remove it, and 127 loopback address also I'm going to remove. So this has been removed, and now we are good, I guess. I'm going to take one reboot for this machine, and now we can finally go ahead and shut down this old machine and verify everything is good. And I'm going to reboot this 2019 DC1s, and then we are going to reboot the client machines, and we are going to verify what the logon server and others information in client machine. So if I go here and put set, you can see the logon server is still was showing 2000 Win2K12 DC01 because we have not rebooted this machine after changing the demoting this server. So we are going to do that now. So I'm just going to make sure our Win2K19 DC01 is up and running, and then we are going to reboot the client machines as well to verify the effect. So the old domain controller has been like shut down, demoted and shut down, and that machine is no more on a network, so this is good. So now 2019 DC is rebooted. I'm going to log in again, and now we are good to go ahead and reboot our client machines as well. So I'm going to reboot these machines one by one, Win10 CL01 and Wintel CL02, and just verify everything is going to be good on these machines. So just run snetdem query once again to verify everything is good with FSMO roles. So all this FSMO role is on Win2K19 DC01, so which is good. So now our both machine is rebooted, client machine. So I'm going to log into CL01, which is Win10 CL01 client machine 1, and I'm going to verify the logon server. So I'm going to open CMD and then set. So now you can see the logon server has been changed to Win2K19 DC01, which is our current domain controller. So this is good, and let's verify same on our second second client machine, which is Win10 CL02. So I'm going to verify on this machine now. So CMD and then set. So Win2K19 DC01, this is good. And who am I? Victim info sole user 02, and if I do ns lookup, you can see the default server is our current domain controller, which is Win2K19 DC01. So this is good. So this is all about Active Directory migration from Windows Server 2012 R2 to Windows Server 2019. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any query, any question related to this video, you can always post me on my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.